Members of the committee, my name is Jay Adkins. Excuse me, I'm the General Counsel for the Missouri Chamber of Commerce, and on behalf of our some 3,000 members and their employees, we are testifying in favor of this bill. Before I take any questions, if I may be given a little latitude, my iPhone was stolen today, and it looks like the fine members of the Jefferson City Police Department may be bringing it back to me. I'm tracking it on my iPhone app, and it seems to be moving towards the Capitol. So I am a little bit sidetracked, but with that, the Chamber supports this bill. But I may be looking at my iPad from time to time.
Representative Weber, have you got his iPad?
Yeah.
There's a reason it's moving towards the Capitol.
In fact, it looks like they might be out of the guard shack now.
I've always been curious about this. So the Chamber has testified on this before, and the Chamber represents, what does the Chamber represent?
About 3,000 members and roughly half a million workers from those members. Private, yes.
Private side. And this bill doesn't affect construction rates for private. I mean, this is public projects.
If I understand it correctly, it does not, private construction projects, no, but to the extent that a private contractor provides workers to a public project, it would. But this does not apply, my understanding is, to answer your question, Representative, this does not apply to a strictly private enterprise, that's correct.
I guess I've always had trouble understanding why the Chamber of Commerce feels, like, I get tax rates that affect directly your members. I guess I have a hard time understanding why you wade into this debate, what your members get out of changing the way that we pay for.
Right, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that question. I think it's a two, maybe a three-pronged answer. I think philosophically, as an organization, and the direction and the stance that our members have taken is a free market, free enterprise position. And I think, philosophically speaking, I would tell you that our stance is local market forces should drive labor costs. So I think that's the answer there. Specifically, I think to the extent that we have members who are in the construction business, and those members are interested in bidding on and constructing public projects, I think they have a vested interest in how public policy is formed that affects those projects.
I often hear that businesses need certainty. And so I've got two questions on certainty. First off, we just changed this 5 months ago, so wouldn't in the interest of certainty be we not change it again for a period of time? I'm to address that.
Well, and I think that's a fair question. I also think that
That's a good question. I know it's a good question. What's the answer?
Actually, I said it was a fair question. I don't know. I go so far as to say it's a good question.
Fair enough.
I'm kidding, Representative. I don't mean any disrespect.
No, I don't take it that way.
But now I lost my train of thought. But
just change it. Let's give businesses certainty and not change it again for several years.
Well, I don't think we're changing the same thing that we changed last year. If I understand this legislation correctly, and I think everybody on the committee knows that over the last few years I've taken on a number of different roles, and I'm fairly new to this particular issue. But my understanding is the change that recently took effect dealt specifically with schools, did it not? And this is a broader umbrella of public projects generally. I hope I'm not mistaken, but
I think it started out though. I think it became a lot broader. I think it started out as School Construction Act and got a lot broader, if I remember. So I think we are changing some of the things we changed 5 months ago.
Okay, and if we are, then I think that's a fair question, and I'll confess to you, I don't know the specific answer to that right now.
And it's like for private contractors that are bidding, if they know, I mean, doesn't a prevailing wage that's certain across the entire state give them more certainty when putting together bids for projects?
Well, I don't think that that's a fair statement. I don't think that the prevailing wage is the same across the state. It may be the same.
No, it's clearly not. We've argued about that.
Okay, so if the premise of the question is, if I'm a contractor and I'm bidding, wouldn't it add more certainty if I knew that every public project that I was engaging in, that the wage was the same? That's the premise of the question. And the problem with that is, okay, it's calculated the same. The problem with that is, the reality as a contractor is that I don't only do public projects. I might want to do a bunch of public projects and private projects in the same area. And if I am faced with a scenario where I am paying 2-3 times as much in labor costs on a public project in the same area where I would be paying, half of that or a third of that on a private contract, then I'm going to be, less motivated, as will other contractors be less motivated to engage in the public contract, which means that we're bringing our public projects to a halt, or certainly.
So the answer
slowing them
is we
down.
should reduce, the chamber's position is by reducing that public wage.
No, the chamber's position is that by being able to pay competitive market wages in a region is going to be best for business. It's going to allow for the most growth and development and improvements for everybody. Thank you.
You may. You may.
I just have a simple question. Which one of your members, which members are for this bill? Because I know some of the bigger companies are not in favor of this bill, and they're part of the chamber. So which companies are we talking about?
And we have leadership councils, and we have a number of different policy areas where we get advice from our members, and then the chamber as a government affairs group, we decide, along with our members, what the legislative agenda and what the public policy position for the chamber is going to be. I can tell you that this position derives from a long history of chamber advocacy for, competitive market wages. And what I can't tell you is who the specific members are that push for this. I just don't have that information.
Okay, thank you.
He lost his iPhone. We'll let him
I appreciate that, Representative. And I'm getting a nod from our friends at the Capitol Police there that it looks like maybe they have it out there. So I appreciate that.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your testimony.
Thank you.
In opposition,